This video will walk you through setting up your WebAssign account and showing you where the assignments are. To get to WebAssign, you can use the course link in our Blackboard site, or you can type www.webassign.net into your web browser. Once you've reached the home page, you will first need access to our course. Under the login information, you will see I have a class key. Click on that and it'll take you to the enrollment. In order to access our course, you'll first need to enter our course code. Our course code is UAF 48356152. Once you click Submit, you should see the course Business Calculus for CDE at UAF. At this point, you want to click Yes, this is my class, and it'll now take you to the account creation page. If you already have a WebAssign account, or if you've used it before for other semesters, then go down to the second option, click I already have a WebAssign account, and click Continue. It'll then ask you to log in, and it'll take you into our course. If you are using WebAssign for the first time, you're going to want to select this first option to create account and click Continue. On this page at the top, you'll see the class information, and then you'll see the login information and student information. For the login information, you can choose your password and your username. Please choose something you will remember, as I will not have access to this information. Under the student information, please enter this as you see it in Blackboard. Okay, so first name, last name, and email address should be the same as it shows up in Blackboard. Be aware that if your student information does not match, you may not get your WebAssign grades. Once you've entered all of your information, you want to create your account. It'll then take you to a verification page where you can click Login. Once you've logged into your account, you'll be taken to the Access page. On the Access page, you'll be given three options. The first option is to purchase access online. So if you have not ordered your textbooks, you can buy your access code here. Okay. When you click on Purchase Access Online and click Continue, it then will give you different options for our book. Okay. For our class, we are using the Business Calculus, it's Applied Calculus 5th edition by Warner and Constantinople. Okay. You'll have two different options for which type of access you want. You can buy the Lifetime of Edition access to ebook and homework, or just the Lifetime Edition access to homework. I recommend the ebook and the homework because some of your problems will have ebook things that will not be accessible if you don't have the ebook access. Once you make your choice, go ahead and click Checkout. It will then take you to a payment screen where you can enter your credit card information and billing information. The second option here is if you've already purchased your book and you have your access code in hand. Okay. For this one, I would make sure that first you've purchased your book through the UAF CDE bookstore. If not, be aware that you may have some issues with your code. When you select this option, you'll get a second drop-down menu where you're going to be asked to enter your type of access. Okay. Here, there's all sorts of codes here. On the front of your access code, you should see EWA for Enhanced WebAssign, and then there will be some other kind of code there. Okay, match up the code and pick the correct one. Okay, Once you've picked the code that you have, you'll get 4 empty blanks where you can enter the access code inside of that pamphlet. Enter the access code, click continue. It will then take you into our course. Okay. The last option here is if you've purchased your books but you don't have them yet. Okay. And what this is this is kind of a grace period. It's a trial period so that you can use WebAssign until you get your code. Okay. Couple of things to keep in mind here. So first off, if you notice on my screen, I have a little bit longer time, but that's because this is a faculty account. For your student accounts, you'll have 20 days for your trial. And your trial, make sure you please enter your access code prior to the last day of your trial. If you don't, what happens is all the work that you've done basically goes away. Okay, so make sure you get your books and enter that code before your trial period expires. The nice thing about this is it tells you exactly when your trial will expire. Okay. It'll always tell you how many days you have left when you log in. Okay. And again, once you've entered that information, you can click continue. Here you will see a couple of things. You'll see the assignments section. You'll see about this class where it'll list your book and your ebook. You'll also see calendar, announcements, communication, and grades. Some of this information we will not be using as our main site is Blackboard. But the 2 main places you're going to want to know are your My Assignments and your About This Class. In the About the Class, you'll see a copy of our textbook. Ours looks a little different since we've customized it for this course. Okay, if you purchase access that does not include the ebook, be aware again that you're not going to be able to access these pieces of the course. Okay. Under the assignments, this is where you'll see the assignments for the semester. Okay, once the class is started, you'll be able to see all of the assignments for the class. And again, to navigate through, basically we'll click onto one of these and it'll take us into one of the assignments. If you've used any online math homework systems, you'll find these are all very similar. Okay. As far as your assignments go, you'll have 5 problems for each of the quizzes, 1 quiz for each section, and you'll get 3 attempts for each of your problems. Don't want to go through the menu bar, and it'll give you kind of a more detailed page of your assignments. Now for now I just have the 3 listed. When you first log in, you will see them all for the semester. Okay. Again, in this view, you see not only the assignment, but the due date and time, as well as a brief description of what topics that assignment is going to cover. Okay. On the right, you'll see your score. So if you've attempted this or if you've started it, it'll grade it as you go. All of your quizzes, I'll click on one just so you can get an idea, are 5 problems. Again, it'll tell you a brief description. It'll tell you for all of them, you'll get 3 attempts at each problem. And you'll be able to submit these in parts. So, for example, in this case, if I was trying this first problem, I can put in a solution. And once I start typing, you'll notice I now get some extra buttons at the bottom. I can submit my answer. I can save my progress. So if I'm not quite sure of the answer and I want to come back to it later, I can put in my answer and save it and come back to it at a different time, or I can practice another version of it. Okay. In these, I also get some tutorial options, so I can read about it, and this will take me to the ebook. So like I said, if you purchase the access code that does not have the ebook, you're not going to get this option. You can chat about it, which basically means when you click on this, it'll take you to an online tutor who can kind of converse with you and help you out with the problems. Okay. Each of your different problems have different things, and you'll notice once I enter one of these answer boxes, I get a little calculus pad over here that gives me my different symbols, functions, relationships, trig identities, etc. You can enter things in using those as well. For the graphing, same thing. They have a little tutorial. If you don't need a tutorial, you can go ahead and just select on what you want and graph your equations as needed. Okay. And again, once you've answered more than one, you get a couple different options. I can either save my assignment progress. So again, if I've answered a couple of them and I want to save all of the work I've done and come back later, I can, or I can submit it. Okay. It also tells you which answers will be submitted or saved. So if you've only worked on a couple, so at this point, if I save my progress and then I begin working somewhere else, when I go to save again, it will now save just these ones that I've worked on up until this point. Okay. Down at the bottom, you get those same options again. So if you work through a couple and you can't quite remember which ones you've already saved, you can go down to the bottom and save everything or submit everything. Okay. 3 attempts at each problem. So once you've submitted a single problem, you'll get 2 more attempts at it. If you submit one, save everything, submit a different one, save everything, it'll keep track of which ones you've submitted and how many submissions you've had. Okay. A couple other things to make note of. So once you submit, so let's say, for example, I want to submit the answer to this problem. Okay. If it's correct, or if it's correct, you'll see a little check mark there. If it's incorrect, you'll see a little X. The X will tell you basically that you need to go back and try it again. Okay. Once you've submitted something, back up at the top, you can see your score as you go. So if I had gotten this right, you would see a 1 out of 1. If a problem has more than one part to it, it'll give you like half out of 1 or a third out of 1 or things like that. So you can see your progress as you go and get your percentage as you go. Okay. On the right-hand side of each problem, there are 2 things to make note of. The first is there's kind of this little code here. It says Larson ETS 5, and then it has some numbers after it. Okay. If you ever use the chat about it, the online tutor is going to want to know which problem you're working on. And they don't mean, quiz 1.1, problem number 2. They mean this code here. So you would tell them Larson ETS 5 1.1.041. That lets them know exactly which problem out of the entire bank of problems that you're working on. Okay. The other thing to make note of is the My Notes section. And this is nice if, for example, you had problems on a section, or you made some, if you realize something about a problem, maybe something you want to remember when you go back to review, you can make little notes in here and save them for yourself. Okay. For example, I could say this problem was really hard. Review for exam. Section 1, problem 41. Okay. And so again, this little code over here tells me I'm looking at section 1.1, number 41. And so if I go back to my notes, there's what I would see. Okay. You can use that note piece for other things as well, but it's there for your use. Okay. One of the other tools that you'll see on here is the Watch It. And again, this basically gives you a little tutorial. They'll walk you through a similar problem, So if you tried it and you got it wrong and you're not quite sure why, you can watch it and they'll kind of take you through a little bit step by step. Okay. So there's basically your quizzes. Okay. As mentioned in the exam introduction, your pre-test is the only exam that's going to be taken online. And as you can see here, it's listed under your current assignments. It'll show you when it's due, date and time, what it's going to cover, and kind of what you should be expecting from it. So this should all be review material. It covers chapters 0 through 2 of the text. And if you don't receive an 80% on this, I would probably recommend taking a Math 161 or Math 107 so that you are prepared for this course. Other options that you would have would be maybe to take this in a classroom where you'll have a little bit more one-on-one instruction than you would here in the online class, or interaction with other students and your instructor, more so than you will in this class. Your test works just like your quizzes. You'll have the same types of problems. Entering them will go the same way. The main difference is that this one is a timed exam, so you will have 2 hours to complete this. There's about 20 questions. Once you start it, you have to finish it within the 2 hours. You will still get 3 submissions per problem. So you can, if you get something wrong, it'll let you know and you can try it again. Okay. That basically covers your WebAssign. At this point, I would recommend that you log in, set up your account if you don't already have one, get your access code entered if you have it, and then get started on the first few assignments so that you can get started and preparing for your pretest.